All right, you guys, welcome aboard a flight from Death Valley, Trona here in Death Valley, over to Torrance. We just took off, and we're headed straight out. Trona is just north of us. We're headed south right now, just passing through 4,000 feet, heading up to 8,500 on our flight down to Torrance Airport in Los Angeles. Uneventful takeoff. And here we are, nice and hot out. It's about 35 degrees on the ground. Got the AC pumping, so that's good. And it's a beautiful, clear day ahead of us. We got a cruise climb coming. And what that means in this plane is 30 inches of manifold pressure, 2,400 RPM, and then 20 gallons an hour on the fuel flow. So quite a bit of fuel savings. It's you're looking at about a 14 gallon an hour fuel saving, as opposed to a normal high-performance climb, in which we would burn 34 gallons an hour. So these cruise climbs are preferable anytime the given amount of power at 100 knots, or at whichever speed you select, will generate a given rate of climb up to your cruise altitude. Sometimes there's just not enough power at 30 inches of manifold, and the plane won't climb or reach your cruise altitude. So it's you just have to play that by ear. But right now we're smoking 500 to 800 feet a minute per minute climb, depending on the wind as it's shifting. So we're going from 5 to about 800 or 900 feet. I'd call it an average of about 400 feet a minute, which is nice. And I'll take that with a 14 gallon an hour fuel saving. Otherwise, we'll as we get high enough, we'll contact Joshua Approach, and we'll pick up some flight following down to Torrance. What that will also give us, hopefully, is direct twos. So we're headed down towards Santa Monica for the LA special flight rules to pass through the Los Angeles class Bravo. But then for those of you who are familiar with Trona here in Death Valley, it's pretty much surrounded by MOAs and restricted areas. So the cool thing about getting on with Approach is they're able to clear me through the restricteds at or above. Typically it's at or above a certain altitude if those restricteds are hot. Sometimes you don't get it, but it never hurts to ask. And we'll do that in about 2,000 feet or so once we get high enough to so they can hear us. Here we go, the plane's turning on our flight plan. I'm avoiding these two restricteds. And so we're just kind of flying in these MOAs out of Death Valley south towards Torrance. And all looks good. We're on our way. One thing I always talk about with these glass cockpit airplanes, you know, the airplane presents you great information, but if the pilot doesn't know how to interpret it and understand when the information is accurate and when is it not, it doesn't really do us much good. So I want to show you guys something I talk about a lot, and I'll show you why it is. So I always say that when a plane is climbing and it's showing you information, so right now, if I go to the flight plan, it's showing me ETE, 1 hour and 18 minutes. So it's telling me there's 1 hour and 18 minutes left to this flight. And it also shows me that we should be on the ground in Torrance at 5:27 p.m. local. It's currently 4:10. So the question is, well, is that believable? Could I go ahead and take that information at face value and say, okay, my flight is going to last 1 hour and 14 minutes? And the answer is no. And the reason the answer is no is because the computer, in order to generate these numbers for us, all it does is it takes our ground speed and the distance we have remaining, and it does that quick little math, and it throws this ETE number at us. The problem at looking at these numbers in a climb is that guess what your ground speed's doing? Your ground speed is really low. It's climb speed, right? Because what will happen when you reach cruise and you close your cowl flaps and you gain a few extra knots with that, the plane will be flying much faster. So while the distance is accurate in the climb, in other words, the distance between us and Torrance is correct, our ground speed is much slower right now than we'll actually average for the remainder of the trip. So what I tell people, and this is the best thing to do in my opinion, 60, let's go to 85. Let's keep that coming, flight level change, and we'll keep it at 100 knots. What I tell people to do, and this is the best thing, is a good habit to get into. And that habit is, don't look, or at least don't trust this information until you reach cruise and everything's settled, your cowl flaps are closed, your power settings, everything is set, At that point, you could look into your ETE, or estimated time en route, and your ETA, and that information is much closer to being accurate than this one. So when I say don't trust your information in a climb, it's simply because the computer takes this ground speed, and this ground speed right now is 103. I know that I'll fly about 30 knots faster than that at cruise, and that will substantially change my ETA. And so when I say don't trust your numbers during the climb, this is why, because your ground speed is much lower than it will be for the vast majority of your flight. So I hope that makes sense. Here we go, back to what we talked about before. Sometimes cruise climbs simply don't have the power to get up to cruise. So to get up to 8,500 feet, I'll go ahead and just add a little more power because the 100 knots won't cut it. Actually, it looks like now when we changed courses, the winds have shifted, and now we're able to gain a little airspeed. So let's see what happens. Let's see how high we can go. There's 7,000 feet. We're going up to 8,500. Holy cow, look at that, 1,700 feet a minute at cruise climb settings, which is absolutely insane. There's 7,300 for 85. All right, looks like we're good. Looks like we're good. There's that 1,000 to go sound coming up on 8,500 feet. Now let's see if approach can hear us. Joshua approach, good afternoon, Stationair 1215 Golf.
Stationair 1215 Golf, Josh approach.
Yeah, we're just off of Trona, about 10 to the south of Trona, looking for a flight following over to Torrance. We're a Cessna 206 slant Golf, and we're just crossing 8,000 for 8,500. Let's see what code they give us.
Number 15 Golf, squawk 4714.
4714, 1215 Golf.
Cherokee 72 Whiskey flight. I'm not sure if you have the weather at Mojave, but I'm showing that the 2240 observation, the winds were 290 at 32.
200 feet to go.
40. The weather's better than 5,005, and the Mojave altimeter is 2978.
72 Whiskey, copy 2978. India current is where we're headed.
Oh, okay. I was showing you going to Mojave. I'll change that.
Inner current's right here. Mojave is down here. In your current. Great little airport. Awesomely paved runways. Surprisingly big. 3 runways for that small, non-towered. I don't know what else they do there.
Number 72 Whiskey. I don't have the India current weather, but I do have China Lake Naval Station. And their 2256 observation was wind variable at 4, gusts 21, altimeter 2969er.
Copy all 2969er, 72 Whiskey.
Let's see where the peak TIT is
Number
at.
15 Golf, your radar contact 10 miles southeast of China Lake Airport. The Edwards altimeter is 2975. You can overfly R25 15 above 6,000 sea altitude.
All right, 2975 position check, so we're flight 2515, and we're 8,500. Would that work for 15 Golf?
Number 15 Golf, yep, perfect.
Roger that. So direct Santa Monica at this time, I guess, for our LA Special Flight Rules, 15 Golf.
Number 15 Golf, Roger.
Cool. Here we go. So he just, I didn't even need to ask for it. And let's go direct Santa Monica. 122.
365, Josh.
Direct
Approach all higher in
enter.
about 1
And there we go.
miles.
Plane will turn. And he gave me the ability to fly through this restricted right here, 2515. He just wanted me to verify the altitude. And so he said it's perfect. So right now we're flying through the restricted airspace at 8,500, direct Santa Monica down here for LA Special Flight Rules. So that'll take us through Burbank, which is a nice little shortcut, so I'll take that. Back to what we were doing. Let's go ahead and lean the mixture. So what we want to do is 75 degrees rich of peak TIT. So let's go ahead and keep leaning and see what peak TIT we reach. So there's 1,300. There's
13. Just out of them. You turn
30.
direct to Bakersfield.
1330 is the peak, so 1330 minus 75 is 1255. So now I'm going rich clockwise to 1255.
From Bakersfield.
Centurion 08 X-ray, Roger, squawk 4721.
And there we go.
1255
or so. And that results in 18.1 gallons an hour of fuel burn. Okay, temperatures look good. I'm closing the cowl flaps. Let's see what that will do to our ground speed. So currently we're 131.
X-ray, your radar contact 3 miles southwest of Inukern Airport. The Edwards altimeter is 2975, and I'm showing you at 4500.
I believe it'll take us up to 138.
5, yes, climbing to 4,900, zero X-ray.
137. Oh, look at that. 138. And let's see if it'll go any higher.
430, Josh, approach radar.
Yep, there's 136, 137.
365, climb and maintain flight level 450.
450, flight jet 365.
Little bumpy out here. Yeah, 139 ground speed. Okay, so back to what we were talking about before, why you can't trust the information in the climb because it shows you that slow, it calculates the calculations using that slower ground speed, which is inaccurate. So now here we are on cruise, our ground speed is more accurate. Let's go ahead and look and see now what our estimated time of arrival is. I believe before it was around 5:27 local time. So let's see what now it's telling us when we'll reach our destination. And we'll go ahead and account about 5 to 10 minutes. So if it tells us 5:15, that would be the same. But let's see, because that was about 10 minutes ago. So let's see what it tells us now. So I'm going to the flight plan, and now it's telling us 50 minutes left, and it should be we should be on the ground at 5:09 local time. So it shaved off almost 20 minutes by simply looking at this about 5-6 minutes later.
Josh, approach.
And the reason is now it's taking it off, it's snagging the actual ground speed that we're at, which is quite faster than we were during the climb. That's why I tell people don't trust these numbers in a climb, including the FOD, the fuel over destination, because during the climb, it snags your climb
Remember, 46
fuel.
Mike, Roger, radar contact, Channel Lake altimeter 2969er. I'll have the code in just a moment.
It snags your climb fuel, and your climb fuel in this plane, high performance climb, is 34 gallons an hour, which is sickening. It's a turbo. And so if that's happening, it's looking at your distance remaining, and it's figuring, okay, you got 2.5 hours left at 34 gallons an hour, FOD will show
Remember,
10.
46 Mike, squawk 4701.
So you want to wait to cruise until you're at cruise, at your good ground speed to where the ETE is accurate, and you got the mixture leaned out, the fuel leaned out to cruise fuel burn, and then you want to look at that accurate FOD. So in our case, it's showing me 41 gallons on board. We'll show up with that at Torrance. So get into a habit of checking all these numbers at cruise for these reasons. It will be much more accurate. There you go, a little bumpy out here today. Looks like we have 12 knots on the nose and 9 knots of right crosswind.
Southwest 314, contact Oakland Center 132.8. Good day.
All right, we're on our way, folks. This is where the captain tells the passengers that they could use the bathroom because the seatbelt sign's off. Oh boy. There we are. Let's see, look at that, 144 ground speed. So now, 42 minutes left. Should have us on the ground at 5:04. Let's get a little coordinated here. Density altitude is 9878, which is 1,300 feet or so higher than what we're currently at. So the plane, not really the plane because it's a turbo, but my body currently feels like I'm almost at 10 1,000 feet above sea level. Nice and hot day out there, high density altitude, although not as high as I've seen it at some points. There we go, we're coordinated. Absolutely solid. Absolutely solid. Everything looks good. Let's get some frequencies ready for Torrance. So let's go. 5, 6, and we'll go 120.9er. No way I could hear it from here, but we have that ready to go. All looks good. Coming up on the
46 Mike,
restricted over here.
You can overfly restricted area 2505 and R2515 if you'd like.
I know I repeated that back, but I didn't update it. There we go.
Number 46 Mike, you know what, we haven't really had many VFRs go through the Owens Valley today. It's been really slow. Pretty much all the traffic's been in the Isabella MOA. I know like in the Antelope Valley everything was reported smooth though.
Antelope Valley.
Roger. I'm just fighting the wave.
Man, this is proper desert out here.
926 Tango Foxtrot, Josh, approach Roger.
All right, what I want to talk about next is what's called Visual Situational Display, or VSD for short. And some of you are familiar with this. The Cirrus Perspective Plus avionics have this feature. The G1000 NXIs have this feature, and I'm sure other avionics have this feature as well, although I'm not specifically familiar with their names at the moment. Visual Situational Display, what is it? How do we pull it up? What information does it tell us? And when would it come in handy? When would we go ahead and use it? We'll talk about all that. Let me take a little sip so that'll dry out. Oh, that's good stuff. Okay, Visual Situational Display. What it is it shows us a 3D picture. Because right now, if you take a look over here on the map, we see our course, right? We see the route, but we see it from a bird's eye view. So I can't really tell whether or not the altitude of 8,500 along this route, whether or not it'll plow me into a mountain or an obstacle or something.
Joshua from 72 Whiskey.
I can't really tell that from this.
We're going to take flight separation. My wingman's going to descend down ahead of me.
November 72 Whiskey, Roger.
And so right now, I have a flight plan going, and I'm tracking that plan. I'm also at 8,500 feet. So check this out. Visual Situational
Cherokee
Display.
72 Whiskey, how was the ride coming over the mountains, and how has it been in the...
Visual Situational Display will show me whether or not 8,500
not bad coming over the mountains.
on my way to Torrance along my route of flight
just went through a little bit of a
will
wave,
take me and plow me into a mountain or not.
4 or 5 miles back.
So there's an easy way to load it, the Visual Situational Display, and a more difficult way to load it. And I'll show you the easier one.
Sounds like you can probably expect up
And the easier is right here, the MFD, where here on the map. You press menu, and then you take the big knob and scroll all the way down to the bottom. You see Show VSD, Visual Situational Display. So big knob all the way to the right, highlight Show VSD, and then you press Enter right here, Enter. And then that shows up. So sort of half of your screen remains the map, and then the bottom is the Visual Situational Display. Typically when you go into it, it shows up zoomed in. So what you want to do is come to this range and go to the right to zoom out. And now you can see here I have my waypoints, my next waypoints along the route of flight. And then here, this green line,
430, contact
see this green line?
124.62.
That's 8,500, so that's representing my cruise altitude. And then if I zoom out, it shows me the terrain along my way, and it also shows me what 8,500, where it lies. Where does it fall in relation to the underlying terrain? And you can see here, 8,500 will clear the terrain. So if I zoom out, I can see 8,500 will not plow me into a mountain. Now, if I lowered my floor, as I call it, right there, the altitude, look what happens to the green line, it will come down. Eventually you can see it touching the floor. So here we go. I'm lowering the floor. Let's lower it to 3,500. And then you can see the green line is touching the mountains right over here. So when you show VSD, visual situational display, it shows you when you're selecting an altitude, it shows you what altitude,
keep that code all the way
will go ahead and clear the mountains on the way. So that's a nice 3D way to figure that out. Visual situational display. And it shows you the waypoints along the route, and also in the other settings, which I'll show you how to get there, you could select whether or not to show winds on there. So you can see right here we have the winds selected. So we can see right now we have a little bit of a headwind. Generally speaking, at this altitude, it shows the winds is coming towards us. The winds are coming towards us. And at different altitudes, they're going towards me or away from me. So if you're also, another great time to use this, which we'll talk about in a moment, but since we're talking about winds, we'll talk about it now, is if you're flying along and you're finding a 30-knot headwind, guess what? Pull up Show VSD. If you got the winds on there, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 feet above you, you could see that the wind's shifted, or maybe it's lighter, not as strong of a headwind, or even better, a tailwind, and you could just go ahead and climb, request a climb. So it gives you a great idea in real time as to what the winds are doing at different altitudes to reach your destination at the highest possible ground speed. So that's VSD. Now this is menu, scroll down, and now guess what shows up there? Hide VSD, because VSD is already showing. So we can do enter, and then it takes it away. So the easiest way to pull it up is menu, and then scroll all the way down, show VSD, enter, and it's right there. And then you can take the range knob, and you can go right or left to zoom in or out. And you can see this shows you a bird's eye view, and this shows you sort of a side, similar to like an instrument approach, where we call it the profile view on the instrument approach section, and it just shows you the side, a 3D view of where your altitude puts you in relation to the terrain. So that's the easy way to load it. There's another way to load it. If you come down here to map options, you press that, and then you press inset, and then you see VSD, and you can pull it up. You could pull VSD up, and then you could come here and do off, and then you could come back and back. So this way is a little more involved. This way right here is the easiest. Menu, show VSD, menu, hide VSD. Really simple. Okay, now that we know what VSD does and how to load it. Oh, and I said I'll show you how to get the winds in there. So the winds, you do menu over here, and then you go to map settings, which is the first one. You press enter, and then the small knob shows you all the different things that you could select settings for, and then you can scroll down with the big knob to the bottom. It says VSD, enter, and then right here it shows winds. So you come down to this one, and we have it to on. You could have it on or off. So the way to do that is menu, map settings, and then small knob. If you're on a different thing, you just scroll to VSD, enter, then big knob, you could scroll through the different settings and turn your winds on or off. Really simple. All right, so now we loaded it. We know how to get the winds on there. Let's talk about, if you haven't already taken a few guesses, let's talk about when would be a good time to go ahead and use it in day-to-day flying. So one of the times we already talking about the winds, and that is if you're flying along and you want to figure out, well, where do I have better, or where are the winds better or worse? What are they doing around me? So if I'm fighting a big headwind, and I want to climb, are they better up there? Maybe I need to descend. So if you pull the VSD up and you have the winds turned, selected to on, it shows you a nice visual, real-time situation as to what's going on with winds. So maybe if you climb, you'll get some tailwinds, or if you descend, because it looks like right here, this arrow, looks like if we climb up to 15,000 feet, we should have nice tailwinds. So there's headwinds beneath us and above 15, but then as we climb between here and about 18,000, there's nice tailwinds. So you could quickly tell that by VSD. So one of the times that you'd use VSD is for that purpose, to see what the winds are doing above or beneath you in real time. So it's really helpful for that. Another time, and this is really by far the best time that you'll want to use VSD. In fact, you don't want to be flying without VSD up unless you're really, really, really brave. And that is at night.
Romeo.
I do a lot of my flying in the desert, in and out of Death Valley, up the coast of California. Not really desert, but I do a lot of my flying in areas where at night it's just pitch black, not in the immediate vicinity of Los Angeles. And there's a lot of mountains. There's big mountains, there's mountain ranges, ridges.
November 35.
Jet 365, contact LA Center 132.62.
And so for someone like myself, specifically, who does flying in areas where it's pitch black at night, and I'm going to descend into airports where there's literally nothing around it. I'm going into an airport in Death Valley. Flying into Trona at night, there's nothing around it. Trona's just sitting in the middle of nothing. So VSD is phenomenal, especially for descent planning, to see whether or not it will take you into a mountain.
118.8.
It's fantastic for that. Fantastic for descent planning. Also, another time to use it is VNAV. I won't talk about VNAV on this flight. We'll keep that for another flight. But if you use VNAV right here, if you set VNAV up, VNAV along with VSD is a powerful, phenomenal tool to show you whether or not you are descending too soon, too late. Because remember, VNAV is smart in the sense that you tell it the descent rate, and it will figure out, okay, where should you begin a descent, going as fast as you're going and being as far away from your destination. So it's a little bit of smart, but it's not as smart to the, it's not smart enough to the point where it could also tell you, hey, listen, this descent that we're planning is going to take you.
Contact approach 124.55.
2455, 15 Golf, have a nice day. And approach, good afternoon, Station Air 1215 Golf, level 8,500, direct Santa Monica.
All right, I think I stepped on somebody. Going direct Santa Monica, say again?
Yep, Station Air 1215 Golf, level 8,500, direct Santa Monica for LA Special Flight Rule.
Number 1215 Golf, Josh Bridge, 1 altimeter 2982, welcome.
2982, thanks, 15 Golf. There we go.
There's another aircraft calling Josh by a minute.
Yeah, 593 Echo, so just letting you know.
So,
4.5.
VNAV along with VSD is a really powerful tool, especially flying at night, because you really can't tell where the mountains are at and whether or not a certain descent rate will get you, you'll scrape a mountain. You don't want that happening. You don't want that happening. So it gives you a lot of peace of mind. A lot of peace of mind. So that's VSD right there. Menu, show VSD, hide VSD. Menu, show VSD, hide VSD.
I'm sorry, November 593 Echo Hotel.
Easy.
Your request?
I hope that all makes sense.
Then you know we're starting our descent to 4.5. Roger, copy.
Approach 132.
Novella 132, Joshua approach. 2982, descend via the Janney 5 arrival, accept maintain 8,000.
Janney 5 arrival, accept descend 5,000.
132, first time you had it right. Descend via the Janney 5 arrival, accept maintain 8,000.
Janney 5, accept descend maintain 8,000.
Novella 132, when you're over Janney, there was a fire reported. There's multiple firefighting aircraft. You're going to be the first one coming back over. They're saying that it's pretty much cleared up. You can just give me a report once you're near Janney. Let me know what you think.
Copy that. 132.
November 77 Bravo, 12 o'clock, 5 miles. A fire's been reported. There's firefighting aircraft, 6,500 and below.
Little fire going on.
How's it look out there?
Just really good here. The smoke is only a few hundred feet above the crest, but I'll offset for separation to the north.
Roger. Does it look like so the fire doesn't appear as bad right now?
I'll know more in about 2 minutes when I see the crest. I saw it coming down, and it seemed to be relatively small.
Roger.
Where's the fire?
132. Will that preclude us doing a visual to 15?
I don't believe so. That's SoCal will know once you get near Janney, but I believe they've been issuing visuals. I haven't been told they haven't.
Okay, thank you much.
November 20 Whiskey. Looks like there's one in the pattern, 3400, 180 knots. Moving pretty fast. You can contact Fox Tower.
Thanks, over to Tower 20.
Willie 1, traffic northeast 5 miles westbound, ascending out of 6,000, citation, landing possibly upon.
Willie 1, Roger.
Getting hot out here. Some fires.
Yeah, says 10 Bravo to Joshua. It's a fairly narrow strip of burn up towards the ridge from the water. It looks to be, you know, from an untrained eye under control.
Roger, thank you. November 8 Whiskey Romeo, I can leave you on Boget 240 if you like. I can bring you back Janny for the Janny 5 arrival at 5.
Alrighty.
Yeah, we're going to ask for 1-5, so we can probably stay where we are at this point.
Roger, I'll leave you on it.
Let's see. Looks like we have 28 minutes left to our flight.
Charlie's leveling 13,000.
That should put us on the
November
ground
7 Delta Charlie, Josh
in
Roach,
Torrance at 5:05 local time, so 5 minutes after
32
5 p.m.
827 Delta Charlie, good day.
Josh Approach 1332 Whiskey, there's another fire on my 3 o'clock. Is that on your radar?
2032 Whiskey, affirmative, that one's also been reported. How's that one look? I was told it wasn't
I
that
see a fire right out there.
It's still got a decent column, but it's weighed down by the wind. It looks like it's about 15 acres. I can't see a flame from here.
Alright, 32 Whiskey, Roger, thanks for that report. November 3 Oak Hotel, contact SoCal approach 127.0, 270. If they don't hear you, try again 5 miles, they'll hear you.
27-0.
November 593 Oak Hotel, SoCal approach 127.0.
127.0 at 3 Echo Hotel. Josh Approach, this is AirTech 52.
AirTech 52, good.
Yeah, I've been hearing you've been keeping you guys to the south. I appreciate that. We have everything mostly under control. It should be about an hour and a half. We should be clear of this airspace for the arrivals.
AirTech 52, Roger. Appreciate that. SoCal actually called us and opened it back up, so there's going to be airliners coming over top. I'm only showing you at 65. Is there anybody planning on working higher than that?
Joshua Approach, November 920, Delta Sierra with you, leaving at 16.3 down to 14,000. We have a weather for our destination.
Number 920, Delta Sierra, Josh Approach, 1 altimeter 2982, descend via the Janny 5 arrival when you're on maintain 8,000.
It's going to be at Janny 5.
Our frequency 133.07.
Josh Approach, affirmative. We're at 6,500, maybe at T4 at 8,000. Don't know if they're still in the airspace circle in RV left.
I don't see the ones at 8,500. If you get any word about that, if you don't mind just letting me know, and we'll change our plan of action.
Yeah, I'll keep you advised on that. We'll get back to you. AirTax, good to see you, thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
November 8 Whiskey Romeo, contact
So it looks like we are
120.4.
24 minutes from our destination, 18 minutes from our next waypoint, which is Santa Monica. So what we'll do here,
November 77 Bravo, say plan route of flight to AUN.
I hope you guys can see out the window, but there's a mountain range right in front of us, and right after it is Burbank, and we'll descend down to LA Special Flight Rules in a little bit. So if I do BSD here, I'm just curious. Yeah, the mountain range is right here. This is the mountain range right in front of me. So once we get to the top of that, we'll begin a nice descent towards this next waypoint, which is Santa Monica. And this mountain range is right in front of me. So it shows me that I'll clear it, that's great. And then once I get on top of it, I'll begin a nice descent. But now, just because I'm curious, what descent rate will be required of me if I begin it, indeed, above that mountain range? So let's talk a little bit about VNAV. I know I said I won't talk about it on this slide. I want to do an in-depth video on it. But since we're here, let's talk a little bit about VNAV in terms of descent planning. Just if you're curious what descent rate will be required of you. So, flight plan, and right here is our VNAV window, right under the flight plan. So if I highlight, and I want to get to this waypoint, which is right down here, that's Santa Monica. I want to be there at 3,500, which is the LA Special Flight Rules going south eastbound. So what I'll do is highlight, and then big knob, I highlight this altitude window right next to it. And then with the small knob, I'll put 3,500 right there, 35. I'll do enter. And now something showed up in my VNAV. Something showed up in my VNAV. And it shows me the waypoint I'm going to is USR 122.
Yeah, just contacted with...
we want to be there at 3,500 feet.
From 8,000 to 14,500.
And what I'll do is I'll come down here and I'll select 500 feet per minute. And the computer on its own figured if you want to descend at 500 feet a minute at your ground speed, you better begin a descent 5 minutes and 20 seconds from now. That's what VNAV, with its brilliance, is able to figure out for us. And now as I'm continuing on, that number, that time between now and our top of descent is decreasing, but you'll note that it fluctuates as my ground speed fluctuates. Because remember, VNAV is only as smart as snagging my ground speed and my distance.
0412,
That's it.
0412 for the code.
And as my ground speed fluctuates, its numbers must fluctuate. So keep that in mind. Now, I selected 500. Let's say I go to 600, meaning I tell it I want to go a steeper descent. Guess what happens? I push out my top of descent because there's no need to start early. I could start later because I'm descending steeper. And the same applies with 700, 800, 900 feet per minute, as you can guess. So now I go to 700 feet a minute. 7.5 minutes from now will be top of descent. 800 feet a minute. 8.5 minutes from now, top of descent. 900 feet a minute. 9 minutes and 13 seconds from now. And obviously, the steeper you go, the further out your top of descent gets pushed out, because you could begin it later. Now, the opposite is true. If I go shallower, I bring my TOD, my top of descent, closer to me in order to still reach that waypoint at 3,500 feet while descending at a shallow 500 feet per minute. So I hope that makes sense. So you could see that with VNAV. Even if you don't want to use VNAV, VNAV could give you information that's phenomenal. You could tell VNAV, here's what I want to descend at. When do you think I should begin my descent? And it will tell you, hey, 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Okay, cool. And then I could do that with vertical speed. I don't have to use VNAV. I'm just using VNAV for the information. So keep that in mind. VNAV is a powerful tool, and we could turn to it for whatever it is we want. We could either have it work for us, we could have it only think for us, or we could have it do both. So keep that in mind. So right now, 500 feet a minute, it's telling us to begin a descent in 2 minutes and 50 seconds from now. Now, obviously, the airplane won't do that, although this window is active, because there's two other things I haven't done. I haven't lowered my floor, meaning I haven't given the plane room to shine, as I call it. I haven't given it room to descend.
67 Foxtrot squawk is 0412.
And the next thing, the second thing I didn't do is I haven't engaged VNAV. VNAV is not armed. It would be here in the white letterings. So even in this case, in 2 minutes and 18 seconds from now, when we reach top of descent, the plane won't do anything because I haven't done those things. So I always say there's 4 things that must be in place that have taken place in order for VNAV to work. Number 1, you must select an altitude on the waypoint that you wish to be at that waypoint. Number 2, select your rate of descent. Now VNAV will automatically populate a rate of descent for you. But if you want 500 feet a minute, you got to select 500 feet a minute. Number 3, you got to lower the floor. And number 4, you have to make sure that VNAV is armed, it's pressed, and then it'll show. It looks like this. See the white V path? That's what it looks like. So you need to make sure that that's armed as well. If you have all those 4 things happening, then the plane will switch to V path mode. It will turn green, and the plane will lower its nose and descend at whichever descent rate you ask from it down to the altitude that you want to be at that waypoint. So.
November 67 Foxtrot, contact Fox Tower.
Looks like we're flying over the mountain ranges right now. So what I'll do is actually go here to 700 feet a minute, and it's telling us, okay.
15 Golf, contact SoCal 124.6, good day.
24.6, good day, 15 Golf.
Who else called?
Jet 234, affirmative, heading 320, and climb and maintain 14,000.
Yeah, for 14,000, right turn 320, jet 234, we're going to need to stop and climb for a pressurization issue. I'll get back to you on it.
Jet 234, roger, what do you want to climb to?
6,000 will be fine.
Jet 234, roger, turn right heading 340, come and maintain 6,000.
Okay, right to 340 up to 6,000, set jet 234.
Yeah, SoCal, good afternoon, station air 1215 Golf, level 8,500 direct to Santa Monica.
That's all taken.
1215 Golf, level 8,500 direct Santa Monica for LA Special Flight Rules.
1215 Golf, SoCal approach, altimeter 2978.
2978, 15 Golf.
Approach us on journey 19, 8,000.
There we go. So I put 700 feet a minute, and it's telling me to begin my descent in 2 minutes and 40
SoCal
seconds.
approach, altimeter 2978, expect the Isla Zulu runway 16 right approach.
On journey 19.
And 600 feet a minute, it's telling me to begin it in 1 minute and 20 seconds. But now we're on top of the ridge, the mountain, so we'll be on the other side of it. So that could actually work. So now, with that in mind, let's go ahead and ask approach here if we're good to begin descending, because it's, if you see here, I'm flying smack through the Charlie.
Vertical track.
So now she says that a minute out. I'm flying smack through the Burbank Charlie. So I want to make sure with him that it's fine for me to descend for Santa Monica. So it's showing me the top of descent in 48 seconds. So I'll get on with him and see if it's cool. But what I could do here just to verify is I go menu, show VSD, and check this out. It's showing me that if I begin my descent right where it's at 600 feet a minute, I will not touch any mountain. So I'm happy. That's good. That's a great confirmation with the VSD. So let me get on with him and see if we're cool, and then I'll lower the floor. And approach 1215 Golf. Is it okay if we begin our descent for LA Special Flight Rules at this time?
15 Golf, here for altitude, your discretion.
VFR, altitude, our discretion. Thanks, 1215 Golf. Cool. I'll lower the floor. 3,500. I'll engage VNAV. VPATH is engaged. It's showing me top of descent in 10 seconds.
4312 Foxtrot, SoCal approach, roger.
There's top of descent. It switched to VPATH. VPATH is green. My nose is lowering. I don't know if you can tell. And now the plane.
I maintain 13,000.
Now the plane is sliding down the slide. And I see Burbank smack in front of me. And now,
234, we're going to have to turn you for traffic and terrain at 6,000. Turn left heading
now we will reach Santa Monica smack at 3,500. So this is doing all the thinking for me. This is doing all the thinking for me. I don't have to break my brain and pull out my E6B in order to figure out, let me slow down a little bit here, in order to figure out when to descend, when to, so if you know how to use the avionics, not only does it show you that you won't touch a mountain, but it also gets you to where you want to get to when you want to get there. So it's a really powerful tool.
Burbank at this time.
Jet 234, descend and maintain 5,000. You're clear to Burbank via vectors to the Isla Zulu runway 8 approach. Fly heading 250, descend and maintain 5,000.
Okay, 250 on the heading, 5,000.
Now, LA Special Flight Rules is 2855. And whenever
November 1 Alpha Lima, turn left heading 320, or actually, correction, November 1 Alpha Lima, turn left heading 070, climb and maintain 13,000.
Left 070 up to 13,000, 1 Alpha.
Jet 234, contact approach on 134.2.
And whenever he tells me, I'll go ahead and squawk 1201, and he'll tell me frequency change
turn right
is
heading
approved.
320.
And that's it. And here we are descending, and we should reach.
Number 15 Golf, traffic 11 o'clock, 4 miles west, turning north, Gulfstream 8000.
Looking 15 Golf.
On journey 19.
So I hope that made sense.
4 miles
And I have the traffic
extending through 7,500.
Looking for journey.
Traffic in sight, 15 Golf. I hope that all makes sense with the VNAV. Nothing too complicated. VSD is a phenomenal add-on situational awareness type of tool. And together, imagine what you could do at night with that and the peace of mind that it gives you.
Traffic, 11 o'clock. High, 2 miles.
I got him right there. Gulfstream, 800 feet above us. Man, the view of Los
Number
Angeles,
64 Golf, contact Los
incredible.
Angeles Center, 125.8.
25A, 64 Golf, roger.
Incredible.
Number 1 Alpha Lima, turn left heading 290.
Left heading 290, 1 Alpha.
All right. And that's that.
On journey 19, traffic no factor, descend and maintain 7,000 and contact approach 120.4.
7,000, 120.4, so journey 19.
Number 15 Golf, maintain VFR at or above 5,000.
At or above 5,000, 15 Golf.
Cherokee 12 Foxtrot, turn right heading 160.
Right heading 160, 12 Foxtrot.
Number 15 Charlie, contact approach 134.2.
All right, I'll raise my floor to 5,000. So now the plane will continue in V path, VNAV, down to 5,000.
5515 Charlie,
And then it'll level off. It won't penetrate my floor. And that's why we have to lower the floor every time in order for VNAV to work. So I raised it to 5,000. He told me to maintain VFR at above 5,000. And there we go. So I'm still in V path. The plane is continuing
Number 1
along.
Lima, turn right heading 360, then proceed
And I should reach 5,000 right here.
Heading 360, then to slap. One up.
At the banana. That's where I should reach 5,000. That's this green banana. And if he still tells me to maintain 5,000 as I get close to the Bravo, I'll make sure to request a Bravo clearance, because even if you're on with approach control, you cannot fly through Bravos. You need an explicit clearance. And the Bravo here is 5,000 and 10,000. So I'll go ahead and do that in a few minutes. So I'm thinking ahead, and I already know I'm about 3 minutes ahead of the airplane right now, and I'm waiting with my finger on my mic, and I'm waiting to key. If he's not telling me VFR my discretion at this point right here, I'll get on with him and get a Bravo clearance. So that's how ahead of the airplane I'm thinking. 1,000 feet to go. 6 for 5. And there we go, the Pacific Ocean right in front of us. Absolutely phenomenal.
Departure stop at 148. We're at a 2.5, climbing to 4,000.
Southwest 148, SoCal departure, radar contact.
All right, let's get on with them and get a Bravo clearance.
Number 1 Alpha Lima, contact Los Angeles Center, 125.8.
1258, 1 up.
Number 12 Foxtrot, resume on navigation.
On nav 12 Foxtrot.
Southwest 148, turn right heading 360.
Right, 360, Southwest 148.
Number 15 Golf, maintain VFR at or above 4,000.
At or above 4,000 15 Golf. You read my mind. All right, so now VNAV will continue, and now Bravo's no factor, because I should be beneath 5,000 in about a minute.
Southwest 148, climb maintain
So
flight level 190.
Climb to 190, Southwest 148.
I need to be under 5,000 by this point right over here.
Number 12 Foxtrot, traffic 11 o'clock, 3 miles southbound.
200 feet to go.
4,000.
Looking for traffic 12 Foxtrot.
Number 15 Golf, traffic 1 o'clock, 2 miles eastbound. The Cherokee at 3,500.
Looking 15 Golf.
Southwest 148, proceed direct slap.
Direct slap, Southwest 148.
Central aircraft, Birmingham to Juliet, Colonel Whiteman, Juliet, Almani, X-ray, Los Angeles.
Visibility 10, few clouds 1,200, temperature 22, dew point 13, altimeter 29er, 79er. ILS showing 29er right approaching use, landing and departing runways 29er. Torrance Tower frequency 133.07. Notice the airman runway 29er left, Bassi's out for maintenance. 5G NOTAMs are in effect in the vicinity of Torrance Airport. Contact flight service for more information. Multiple cranes in the vicinity of Torrance Airport. Check NOTAMs for more information. Use caution bird activity on or in the vicinity of the airport. Caution work in progress. Chase on taxis and runways. Hazardous weather information for California coastal waters available on flight service frequencies. All aircraft be back, hold short instruction runway assignment with your call sign. Advise on initial contact. You have information November.
Number 15 Golf, cancel out seat restriction, radar service terminated, squawk 1201 for the special flight rules area, change to advisory frequency approved.
All right, 1201, thanks for your help, 1215 Golf.
Tower 515 Charlie Kilo, SoCal approach.
1201, 2855, and we're good to go. 3,500 feet, we should reach that right before Santa Monica, right at Santa Monica. 1,000 feet to go, Santa Monica's right in front of me, and the plane will turn nice left on its own as I built into my flight plan and fly through special flight rules. All right, that noise is telling me 1,000 feet to go, and I'll put Torrance Tower frequency on the standby of COM 1, which is who I'll talk with next. And I think it was November, but I'll listen to it again in a little bit. And there we go. We're ahead of the airplane. I'll get my lights on through LA Special Flight Rules just because it makes me feel better. This plane really lights up like a tree. And here we go. We're 3 miles to the north of Santa Monica. I hope you guys could see the outside. If not, take my word for it, it's beautiful. The ocean's right in front of us. Marina Del Rey is right out the window. And LAX Airport is right down here. That's weird.
Traffic, 12 o'clock, low, 1 mile.
Let me do this. Let me skirt around them. Little traffic action. In sight, no factor. All right, we'll resume O navigation. LA Special Flight Rules, White Cessna 3500 over Santa Monica, heading southeastbound, LA Special Flight Rules. All right. There's 35. There we go, LAX is right in front of us. And my next call will be Ballona Creek. There we go. All right. LA Special Flight Rules, White Cessna 3500 over Ballona Creek, heading southeastbound, LA Special Flight Rules. I think it was November.
2347 Zulu, wind 28012, gust 20, visibility 10, few clouds 1,200, temperature 22, dew point 13, altimeter 29er 79er. ILS showing 29er right approaching use, landing and departing runways 29er. Torrance Tower frequency 133.07. Notice the airman runway 29er left, fastseas out for maintenance. 5G NOTAMs are in effect in the vicinity of Torrance Airport. Contact flight service for more information. Multiple cranes in the vicinity of Torrance Airport. Check NOTAMs for more information. Use caution bird activity on or in the vicinity of the airport. Caution work in progress, chase all taxis and runways. Hazardous weather information for California coast waters available on flight service frequencies. All aircraft be back, hold short instruction runway assignment with your call sign. Advise on initial contact. You have information November.
Thought so. Fantastic. LA Special Flight Rules, White Cessna 3500 heading southeastbound over LAX, LA Special Flight Rules. All right, look at that, almost home. Big old planes down there. Big old planes. Oh, I almost forgot. So a lot of the things I talk about on these flights are actually emails I receive from people. And so what I want to tell you watching this is if there's anything specifically you want me to talk about pertaining to this plane or to flying or to me, whatever it might be, feel free to shoot me an email. There should be an email in the description, and I'll go ahead and do my best to cover it on one of the flights. Also, it takes me a little time to answer all the emails, but I believe I answered all of them so far. So stick with me, and again, if there's anything you want me to talk about, shoot me an email, and I'll make sure it gets covered at some point on these flights. All right, here we go. LA Special Flight Rules, White Cessna 3500 heading southeastbound over Imperial Highway. Last call, LA Special Flight Rules. There we go. Here comes Torrance. We have information November. And we'll squawk VFR. Torrance Tower, good afternoon. Stationary 1215 Golf, just out of Special Flight Rules, inbound full stop with November.
1215 Golf, Torrance Tower, make right traffic, rolling 2 right, report downwind north midfield.
Right traffic, 29 right, report midfield, 1215 Golf. All right, autopilot goes away, and let's hand fly this thing a little bit. There's Torrance.
1240, 12 gust 20.
For situational awareness, we'll go here and we'll do select approach, And we'll do the visual 29 right. Then we'll do vectors. And there we go. And now we can see right here is my final approach course. So right now I'm on a perfect 45 with the airport. Absolute perfection.
Could I get a wind check?
Wind 220 at 10, gust 20.
220. Left crosswind on landing. There we go. All right, prop mixture. Cowl flaps are open. And we're good to go. Lights are all on. And everything looks kosher. And I have ground ready to go and COM 2 active. Beautiful out there. $1,000 to go to TPA.
November 00 November, turn left taxiway Charlie, contact ground.
Turn left on Charlie, contact ground, Cessna 430 November. Thanks for your help today.
No problem.
All right, let's make this happen. Hope y'all enjoyed the flight, folks. There we go, we're joining downwind. At tower 1215 Golf, midfield downwind.
Number 15 Golf, runway turn right, clear to land, wind 26012, gust 19er.
29 right, clear to land, 1215 Golf. All right. There we go. Looks good.
Cessna 90 Papa, contact ground.
Over to ground, 90 Papa. Torrance Tower, Cessna 379er Tango Alpha. We are at Point Furman at 2,500, inbound for landing with November.
Number 379er Tango Alpha, Torrance Tower, traffic alert, 12 o'clock, less than a quarter mile, same altitude, wind touching them, southeastbound.
And Cessna 379er Tango Alpha has traffic in sight.
Cessna 9er Tango Alpha, make sure and runway turn right, report 3 mile final.
Reporting 3 mile final, 379er Tango Alpha, thank you.
And we're down. Welcome to Torrance.
Number 15 Golf, turn left taxiway Charlie, contact ground.
Left Charlie, contact ground, 1215 Golf.
0 Juliet, Torrance ground on 829 right, taxi via Juliet.
29 right via Juliet, RV 800.
Torrance ground, station air 1215 Golf, clear 29 right on Charlie, taxi to Easties.
Number 1215, correction, number 1215 Golf, Torrance ground. Hold short, taxiway Alpha, have opposite direction on Alpha right now.
All right, hold short of Alpha 125 Golf.
Torrance ground, RV 921 Charlie Mike at the East.
All right, you guys, hope you enjoyed the flat. Hope y'all learned something.
RV 921 Charlie Mike, Torrance ground on 829 right, taxi via Juliet. 9 right via Juliet, 921 Charlie Mike.
All right, let's lean her out. It is 21 Celsius out here.
Number 15 Golf behind that, Cessna, head into your left on Alpha, taxi to East Tees via Alpha.
All right, behind the Cessna, East Tees via Alpha 125 Golf. There we go. All right. We're back. As always, for those of you in flight training, as I always say, I love to say this, I don't know why, maybe because I'm passionate about it, is stick with it. Stick with it. I know you currently have a headache. You're probably throwing up. You're probably exhausted when your lessons are all done. And you probably hit a plateau and you're asking yourself, am I stupid or what? And if you're anyone like my students...
ground, RV 921 Charlie Mike, VFR request.
Who...
RV 1 Charlie Mike, stay request.
The type of people...
RV, I request flight following to French Valley at 3,500.
The type of people I happen to instruct, for whatever reason, one reason or another, all of them happen to hold themselves to standards that are unbelievably high, which is fine. But
sorry about that.
if you're one of those people, it is very easy for you to fall into a rut thinking that you, like, what's wrong with you? You probably built $1 million companies, and here you are struggling to land an airplane. So my advice to you is stick with it and realize that sucking at landing and having your landings look horrific is part of the journey. And it's a phenomenal part of the journey. It's part of what learning looks like. And so even if you hold yourself to high standards, that's fine. But don't be too hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Give yourself a break and realize that this is no different than learning any new thing in life. It's unfamiliar to you. It's new. It's hot. It sucks. Your airplane might not have air conditioning. So give yourself a break. And at some point, things will click. So stick with it. Stick with it. And then you could get to kick your instructor out of the plane and do it all alone. It'd be great. So see it through. There we go. Clear left and to clear right. Little car here. Let's see where they're going to. There we go. All right. Welcome back. All right, you guys. This will be it for us today. And hope y'all enjoyed it, and I'll see y'all next time. Let's see. Let's get this thing turned around. There we go. Alrighty. AC comes off.
Orange ground, Cessna Alpha at Bravo.
Cessna 379 Golf, Orange ground, Cessna Bravo.